My All right, let's go, please. Fuck, man, we're never gonna work out.
You gotta get through the intro. All right. It's been an emotional day. Welcome back to another episode of the Weaver Way podcast. I'm joined today with my best friends Joe and Basil Nasser. These two guys, they not only are my friends, but they also work at Weavers. They train people, and they put in a lot of hard work at the gym. We just got back from West Virginia. Basil Nasser had a knockout victory. What was it like to finally be back in the ring after such a long layoff?
Hey man, words can't put into, it felt great. A long time. Been in, in and out at the gym, training, not knowing what's going to be next. It felt great to be back and, do what I do best.
Yeah, and that was a tricky opponent. He was switching stances, throwing some crazy punches. How do you feel like your training camp prepared you for that fight?
Just make sure I studied the opponent. I watched a lot of film on him. Watched his technique and everything. Just really thought about it, and even when I was at home, just doing my thing, I would think about it, not just in training, but yeah, we executed.
That's good. And for this fight, I noticed like a lot of time and training you put in with your dad. How much, for those of you that don't know, Basil's dad was also a boxer. How much of your dad being a boxer pushed you to become one too?
I always tell people it's in the blood. At the end of the day, it's in the blood. I was, as a kid, I always knew I was gonna fall into some sport, because that was my gift always, whether I came in from sport to sport. But at the end of the day, I always knew I was gonna fall into something. Didn't know it was be boxing, but seeing my dad, watching his film as a kid, and I always told myself I want to be like that one day. And a few years later, here we are. Rest is history.
So you've been boxing since, how old were you when you started?
I was 12 when I started.
12 years old, and how many amateur fights did you have?
I've had at least 135.
135, that's really good.
Yeah.
And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, 3-time national champ, correct?
3-time first place national champion.
Amazing.
I have about 5 second place and then like another 2 third place.
It's awesome,
yeah.
Awesome. And Joe, talk to me, why did you start boxing? Like what was the push?
It was once I retired from football. I was 18, came home from college. First thing I did was go sign up at a boxing gym. I always wanted to do it when I was younger, but I was so preoccupied with football off season, training, going to colleges that I never had time for it. But as soon as I got out of football, I jumped right into boxing.
Awesome. And with football, did you believe like you wanted to go pro? Was that the goal?
Yeah, at one point I did. After I went to college, I kind of like lost the love for it. But at one point I did want to go pro in football.
Yeah. We could have been front row in the NFL.
Front row at the Lions game.
Yeah. But it is what it is. Sometimes we move away from like our passions. Like I enjoyed playing soccer growing up, but I was always better at fighting, so it kind of pushed me to go that route. Mm-hmm. But do you guys believe like now, going back, like we see when we were growing up, it was either boxing or MMA, right? But now you see like there's Muay Thai, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu. If you could go back, would you always choose boxing over everything else, or would you do another sport?
At least I think so. As far as boxing or any other sport, I have a lot of respect for MMA and all. I know, being an athlete, I know a lot of hard work is put into all those sports. But like as far as fighting sports, I think my opinion, I think boxing is the most artistic. There's the most artistic, it's the most popular in a way. But I'm a fan of MMA as well. I think maybe in another lifetime I would use trap MMA, but I think it would always be boxing.
It's a lot different. There's so much more to training when you're doing MMA.
Right. And
boxing is just a small part of that.
Right.
What about you, Joe?
Yeah, going back, I think I would have chose boxing. I always loved it. Like since a young age, I wasn't allowed to do it because my family and like they made me more focus on one sport, and boxing they were worried about brain damage and stuff. But I always like loved it. I always found it like very, like he's saying, artistic, and I just loved like everything about it, how hard it is. everything about it. So I probably would have done boxing a lot earlier if I would have been able to go back and make my own choice.
So now you guys have pretty much almost every day of the week we're all in here training people. I know for myself, I improved so much more once I started coaching. Do you guys have that same feeling? Like, have you learned and like grown as a fighter just from coaching other people?
Definitely, 100%. Like when you're able to like break it down and show it to someone, it makes you like understand it on a deeper level. Like when you break it down and show it to someone like step by step, you kind of like improve things that you're doing yourself as you're showing it to like your client or your student or whatever. And it like, I don't know, just going over it every day, like probably instead of just boxing 2 hours a day, like I'm training people like 6-7 hours a day, including like training and stuff. So instead of just doing boxing for 2 hours a day, now I'm doing like 5, 6, 7 hours a day. So it's like a lot more time spent thinking about boxing, going over form of boxing, looking at boxing, watching it on the TV. So overall, I think it helped a lot.
Yeah.
You know, I definitely say the same. You know, even what's funny is just last night I was doing my workout with my dad, and seeing how much my punches are improving, and even when I'm improving, it's like I'm seeing myself train myself through him. You know, because I've been a trainer for a while now, and training these kids and you know, bringing them as beginners, I see myself through them. You know, how I grew up and how I came up, like, man. And it gives me a chance to be more patient with them, because I'm like, okay, I started off, you know, slow. You know, I started off slow. It was hard for me to get a certain technique in, a certain punch in. And it really helps because you can eventually, you can't always see it as yourself. Like, as being a fighter, you know, when your coach tells you throw this punch or turn that back foot or do this or do that, you can't really see it. But until you teach it to somebody, teach it to especially like a young kid or something, and you see them doing it and you see how it works, like, oh man, that's what they're trying to teach me the whole time, you know, and I'm seeing it work through them. So when you go back, especially you still being a fighter, you go back and like, man, I got to listen to my coach. I got to make sure, because I saw it work through this kid. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's quite a, it's very, I can say it's very, very magical the way it works, you know, because, you know, you teaching other people, it really does help you too. And I think, you know, every fighter should at least teach once in a while to improve their boxing.
Yeah, your overall understanding of what's actually going on. Right. Like, things change so much. Like, before I opened the gym, I was 23 years old and I was just turning pro, and I had my my fights and whatnot. And I look back and I'm like, bro, if I could go back and coach myself, there's so many different things I would do. Like, especially with my defense. I think my offense was good, but I think my defense improved the most once I started breaking it down. Especially when you're dealing with people, like, everyone learns differently. Like, some people, it's more easy for them to catch on, but others, the non-athletic people, the ones who just kind of are getting their feet wet with boxing and haven't really done sports in the beginning, those guys, like, you have to really sit there and teach. So, you know, it's no easy feat what you guys do. Because there's a lot of great fighters, world champions, who can't be good coaches because they just can't, like, articulate what they're trying to get their point across when it comes to boxing. But, you know, like Joe said, he says now he trains 5 hours, 6 hours a day because he's in the gym all day. How do you make time and a balance for your own training as well as your growing client bases?
Just got to work it into your schedule. It's simple. Like, when you make your own schedule with training, I just make sure at some point in the day I get like a 2 to 3 hour block to where I can work out myself. Simple. Like, sometimes you get a little tired, so I like to get it done before, because holding pads is like, it's exhausting sometimes. You do 3 or 4 in a row, your shoulders are dead, you don't feel like training. So like, I like to start my day usually with a workout and try to get it like early, maybe after one session or before I start the day, just so I'm not too exhausted. But other than that, it's good. And then sometimes, you know, it's a workout itself too. So like, you do your boxing and then it's kind of like a slower pace workout, just moving your shoulders. So it kind of helps you cool down and recover if you schedule it right.
Yeah, for sure. You know, and like you just said, like, some people don't understand how much, like, wear and tear being a mitt holder takes on you. Like,
Fuck yeah.
That's why, like, I will not do mitt work for free at this point in my career. Like, just how much damage I've taken in my own fighting career as well as, like, training people. I used to train like 10 people a day private. When I first opened the gym, it was just strictly private clients. Basil, I'm sure you remember those days. But now it's like I'm able to teach classes, groups of people, so that way it takes a little of a break off my body. But with that being said, like, what type of recovery do you guys do after these type of things? Do you guys go get any massage, sauna? Like, what do you guys do to recover?
Cold plunge is always good. They got one at my gym. Sauna, obviously. Try to massage myself with like the Theragun and stuff. It helps, but man, there's not much you can do to like, it's a lot of impact on like your elbow and your shoulder, and there's not a lot you can do to like properly recover that. So you just gotta make sure you're like scheduling usually the bigger guys like kind of far apart, because it's really only those big strong dudes that really crack the pads that hurt you.
Yeah.
Girls, they don't hurt as much. It's more like over time they'll wear down on the shoulders, but big guys, like your elbow will be so sore after a workout. You just got to give them a couple days cool down before you schedule those big dudes again.
And I would say, like, you know, you have to maintain yourself. You know, you have to work your way around. Like, if you have, you know, if you have training that same day and you're having a client the same day, you got to figure it out. Okay, am I going to schedule it this time? Am I going to work out this time? Because you got to know where your energy lies, you know. If, like Joe said, I mean, sometimes it's like you need to go through the workout first, because after that you're going to be drained. Or it's better for you to just do your client first, you know, and then have the workout afterwards. But whatever works for you. I would always say, like, with me, it's like, ever since I was a kid, you know, my whole day revolved around training. Whether I was in school, whether I did, whether I worked a regular job, my whole day revolved around that workout that I did, you know. So I always made sure I did everything I needed to do after training. I made sure, like, as soon as my workout is done, I don't care what I do the rest of the day. I can go play soccer for 3 hours. I can do whatever. You know, I'm an athlete. You know, it's in my blood where it comes to, like, training, you know, moving around. It's nothing from me. But where I put myself to perform the best, where I have to put pressure on myself to perform the best, is in training. So I got to make sure I get that workout out the way, and then I can do whatever after. I can teach 5 classes after that, you know. So, but with the recovery, you know, I would say, you know, you have to maintain yourself with the recovery. You have to recover, whether you get enough sleep, whether saunas always work, whether it be like, you know, if you can get a massage once in a while, but you'd have to do great recovery afterwards.
Yeah, and what would you guys say to the coaches who, in our market, I've noticed, like, some people, they'll do like $20 training sessions. Like, what do you guys think of that? Like, for me, I always think, like, I'm noticing, like, massage therapists, they provide a service, they're charging $150, $200 to do their job. And I know that's a hard job too, but I do believe boxing and teaching someone a skill lasts a lot longer than the benefits of a massage. So me teaching somebody how to fight, when somebody says to me, oh, your session is too expensive, I always say, well, you need to think about it. I'm teaching you a skill, self-defense, you're getting in shape. Why would you put a price on that? That's, to me, like, disrespectful in my sense. I think that people charging $20 a session are doing a disservice to all the boxing coaches out there. What do you guys think?
Well, because I would always say, you know, it's not just the service, it's how long I learned it's how long it took me to learn this service to be able to give it to you. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
It took me a while to learn this. This is not something I learned in a day or two, or even a week, or even a year.
Because you started boxing at 12 years old.
12,
now you're
16-year experience, 15, 16-year experience. You know, all these fights, all these experiences. So when someone looks me in my face and says, "Hey, this is too expensive," it gives me a little flash, like, of everything that I learned. I was like, how can I go through all this, you know, and just, you know, not get paid for it? I have to, you know, get something from my service. And as well, it's like, you got to know, when someone's giving you a service, just know it took them a while to be able to learn that, to give you the experience, to give you that service. You know what I mean? So it's like, I have to charge you not upon what I think will be okay, but as far as where my experience lied. You know, how long it took me to learn this to be able to teach you the way I can teach it to you.
absolutely,
you know
yeah. It's about the value of the skill that you're providing. I personally think self-defense is invaluable. That's why me and Joe, I remember a few years ago, we spent how much money at the gun range just learning how to defend ourselves.
A lot of money
in that
on those.
sense, you know?
Yeah. I got 2 things about that. One, you get what you pay for. Like, obviously, if you want to get some cheap training, $20, it's not going to be good. It's going to be bargain bin training. It's not going to be up to par with ours. And 2, there's only like a certain amount of sessions you can do a day. So if I can only train, like, say, 7 people a day, before like my body actually gives out. You can only do so much consistently before your body gives out. So if you're charging $20 and you're only training 7 people a day, it's not enough to make a living. You can't make a living on that. So anybody that's charging you $20 for a session,
I've seen less.
they're not making a living on that. That's like their side hustle, and it's not something they're fully dedicated to. So you just got to understand that this is some guy working a normal job that's just having fun training people out for an extra $20 on the side. If you really want to dedicate yourself to this and do it full time and live like the boxing lifestyle of training clients and training yourself, you have to charge a lot more.
Absolutely,
it's worth
I
it.
agree.
You get what you pay for.
I agree. Yeah, it's incomparable.
And also, I would say like boxing and like sports like this isn't something like just being a regular gym trainer with like lifting weights at the gym, like a fitness trainer. It's different because this takes you a lot longer to learn. It takes you a lot longer to get good and be at the position you are. So, you're going to charge more because it took you a while to learn. Like, so what I'm teaching them is what I've learned in this 15, 16 years in an hour. I'm trying to teach you everything I could in an hour or two. You know what I mean? So it takes longer to learn. So that's why most of the time you're going to notice at gyms, especially gyms being experienced like ourselves and with trainers knowing what they're doing and having all this experience is, you got to make sure you know what you're doing, as far as especially if it's a good coach and someone that has experience, you should expect them to charge you a lot. And when they charge you a lot, you gotta know that you're gonna get the best out of it. You know what I mean? And plus, sometimes it's like I like to be generous with it. I like to give a free trial sometimes. Like if it's your first time, they're not sure about it. Like, okay, don't worry about it this time. See if you like it. If you like it, we'll move on. If not, you can go your own way. But I would say like boxing, MMA, this is not a sport you can just learn. Like come in the gym and learn for a couple of days. It takes years. A lot of dedication, a lot of hard work, and I come from a second-generation fighter. This has been my family for a long, long time. So,
Absolutely, absolutely, I agree. And I just wanted to really touch on those points because I feel like it's important to get the perspective of other trainers as well. Because this is stuff that we talk about off air all the time. So I feel like the people can benefit a lot and just get a coach's perspective. I know there's a lot of new guys that go to the gym and they think like, oh, I walked into Weavers and, they didn't bend the knee and start just holding pads for me off rip. I barely like to hit pads, to be honest. In my own training, I prefer to hit the heavy bag. But, to each their own. If you want to do private training, I do think you should pay a good trainer like Basil Joe, myself. Any of us will teach you and will make you the best ever. But that being said, just to close up the show, I want to ask you guys like some questions like, who's your favorite boxer and why?
My favorite boxer, it's always been Tyson Fury. Ever since I watched him come back from that, he won the world championship and then he took a couple years off. He got obese, he got addicted to drugs. He made a huge comeback in like 2020, 2019.
Yeah, a little bit
he
before.
Beat Deontay Wilder for the heavyweight title. Those 3 fights against Deontay Wilder were like the most entertaining, just amazing fights I'd ever seen. All of them just brutal, like just really shows you like boxing, like 2 guys going at it. They don't like each other and just like beating the hell out of each other. And then he goes on and like, wins a bunch of fights.
It's like a movie story.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
Tyson Fury coming back from being like 400 pounds, cutting back down to win the championship again, bro.
Now,
Legendary.
I would say like ever since like with the heavyweight division, it's not been as popular since like Muhammad Ali and like Frazier's times. That was probably the best we've seen out the heavyweight division since.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Those fights and the Usyk fights. There's been a lot of good ones recently with Tyson Fury involved in them. How about you, Basil? Who's your favorite boxer?
Well, I would say usually I would ask what era or what time, because I have a favorite fight at every era, every time. There's always a great champion that comes out, But as far as me and what I looked up to my whole life, I would say Manny Pacquiao, one of my favorite fighters of all time.
Oh yeah.
Vasily Lomachenko, great performers. They great skills. It's not just boxing with them. It's just like their movement and the way they think. It's a very unique type of style.
Yeah.
I looked up to Manny Pacquiao my whole life. I was even watching when I watch his fights. I can tell you what round a certain opponent is going to fall, what round he's going to throw. That's how much I study.
Yeah, Manny Pacquiao is one of the best, and those 2 guys, they're southpaws. Basil himself is a southpaw. So, are you naturally left-handed, or are you just?
I'm left-handed.
Are you actually?
I'm the only person.
Because what's funny is like a lot of like the Iraqi boxers locally, a lot of them fight southpaw. That's like the style that you guys come from, and some of them are right-handed, is what I noticed. But That's pretty cool that
Yeah.
you're actually left-handed.
Yeah, I'm southpaw. I'm left-handed. You know, fun fact. I'm the only one out of my family that's left-handed actually. And you know, southpaw. It's a very unique style. The way they move, and you know, just how they're able to develop certain skills out of it, and certain punches and combinations and all. And usually that's usually what every fighter, you know, tries to avoid.
Yeah.
Is a southpaw. So when you tell someone you're a southpaw, like, oh, okay, like, you know, they got to really think about, like, what am I going to do? Even my last opponent was a southpaw. And when I came in as a southpaw, he said, I already knew I was going to have trouble because, you know, you being a
Yeah, you
southpaw.
don't see a lot of southpaw.
It's not very common. And
Yeah.
that's what makes it very, very
I like the
beautiful.
two guys you picked, though. Those two guys, because they're smaller guys, but at the same time, they can
They're
fight
very
from the
fast.
outside, too,
Very
with their
fast.
good footwork. Yeah.
Yeah.
So two of my favorite. One last thing I want to talk about is some of our most viral videos. Like, we've had some that went really viral. One of them was the one where me and you were singing. Yeah. And we posted that one. We put like a romantic breakup song in the gym. What did you think? When that video hit 1 million, what did you think?
That was hilarious. When we posted that, I thought that was going to be like a throwaway. We were going to delete it later or something because it was so goofy. And we were just fucking around. But everybody seemed to like that one a lot. That popped off really quick. I got a bunch of calls from people. They were like talking about it. I even seen like just walking around town, like people were coming up to me. They're like, "You're that guy that was singing on that video." I was like, "What the hell?"
Bro, it went like 1 point something million views.
Yeah.
That was my first million view video.
Was it?
Yeah.
Damn.
That was a good one. Like,
Yeah, that was hilarious. We got to run that back and do
caught
another
people's
one.
attention and just caught fire. And then you know what other one that off the top of my head that did really good was the one where like, what do you do if she says no? The proposal one.
Oh fuck.
That one across all platforms. That one was over
That
a
one
million
did good.
as well. That was
That was a
really
controversial
good.
video, but it did pretty good overall.
Yeah, we had a lady. She like took it so serious that she went and wrote like a bad Google review and said that it's like an abusive gym to women. We would never hit women, not at our gym. That's another gym that you guys will hear about later. But our gym does not do that. And not only that, I was able to get the review removed because she would never step foot in our gym.
Yep.
And you'll be banned if you say anything bad about us, viciously.
Or women. We support women in this gym.
Yes, we do. We do. Yep. Anyways, guys, that's it for today, the Weaver Way podcast. Thank you guys, Joe. Thank you, Basil, for your time. You guys are the best, my two best friends. Make sure you guys follow and support their careers. Basil Nasser on all social media, and Joe, JB Walker. Pretty simple. Make sure you guys follow them, support them, and if you're in town, book a session with us, and we'll get you right.
Thank you for having us.
Peace.
Thank you. I also want to talk about my favorite music artist, Chris Breezy. I want to give one little birthday shout out to him real quick. Happy birthday, Maurice.
This is the after, the bonus. The behind. This is the bonus. Like, Basil, Joe. All right, Basil. If I didn't know you, what is something that you are interested in that I wouldn't know?
I feel like a lot of my friends would know this by now, but I'm really into movies and stuff. You know, I'm very into like film and art and stuff like that. And hopefully after boxing, I'd like to get into
Did you go to
acting
school for that or no?
I do online courses. Yeah, I do a little work here and there. You know, after the gym.
You're not
sometimes.
taking out loans for that, are you?
Not really.
Okay,
I wouldn't say loans. Like, but I mean, you do gotta invest. I mean, it's an investment with your time, whether it's money, or you know, but. You know.
Okay. What about you, Joe? Are you into anything?
I'm actually into movies too, and a fact that people don't really know about me is I'm actually an actor. I do like characters and stuff, so there's a couple movies that are coming up that have me in it. One is Christopher Nolan's An Odyssey. I'm a side character in that one, and I can't talk about like what part I play, but I am in there for a very short time. And then this one, I haven't even told anybody this, but I'm actually also have a very small part in the new Avengers movie coming out. I think it's next year, and I'm in there for 1 second, but yeah, just 2 side characters. I don't have any speaking roles yet, but
So I
hopefully
have
soon.
something to say too.
Yeah.
I'm actually really into movies too,
Yeah?
and like I'm like a critic.
Yeah.
Yeah, like my favorite movie is The 40-Year-Old Virgin.
I was actually in that movie. That's surprising that you say that because I was younger in that movie, but I was actually at, yeah, at that time, I was the 5-year-old virgin.
Yeah, but I like to critique movies. And you know what other movie I like? Gangs of New York. What is
of
this,
New
the
York.
Pope's New Army? A handful of crusty bitches and ragtags? That's my favorite line in that movie.
That's nice. I was actually in that movie too.
I thought you were in Tropic Thunder.
Tropic Thunder, that was my first part actually. A young kid. I played the part of
I was in Titanic.
But speaking of movies,